Hello, second grade bumblebees. Today I have a special guest with me. This is Cesar Chavez. Say hello, Cesar.
Hello, JBB.
We are going to read a story today about Cesar Chavez, and we're going to hear about the awesome things that he did, because he's another famous American. So we have our table of contents, and we are going to learn about his hard childhood. Oh my goodness, Cesar, you had a hard childhood? A time for change. What did his union do? And giving all he had. This is a nonfiction book, so it has a glossary. There's going to be bold-faced words in this book, and if you were reading this on your own and you didn't know the meaning, you could go and look for the glossary. There's a section called For More Information. If you're like me, you might like to find out extra facts about somebody when you learn about them. And we talked about the index the other day, and that's where you find all the topics that are in the book. So if you're not looking to read the whole book, you can look for what you need. So, Cesar, are you ready to tell us about your life? A hard childhood. Oh my gosh, you were from Mexico? Very cool. Cesar Chavez was born to Mexican-American parents in 1927. So Mexican-American means that his parents already lived in America, but they were from Mexico. His parents owned a farm and a store, but when he turned 11, everything changed. Cesar's family, like many families, lost their land because of the Great Depression. The Great Depression was a time when the stock market crashed and money had no value and people didn't have places to live or jobs. That must have been really hard for you, Cesar. Cesar and his family became migrant workers, which meant they moved from town to town for farm work. So whatever town needed farm work, they would move there. Is it true, Cesar, that you went to 30 different elementary schools?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Can you imagine how much they had to move? They worked every day from 3 a.m. to sunset. So it means they got up in the morning at 3 a.m. and they had to work until the sun went down. Can you imagine that in the summer? It stays light outside till like 8 o'clock. That must have been really hard work. There weren't bathrooms, rest breaks, or even clean drinking water, and they were paid very little. Cesar, you must have been really upset about the conditions for your parents as they worked. They couldn't take a break? And there was no clean drinking water? That is crazy. You overcame a lot in your... Cesar's back hurt from bending over all day to pick fruits and vegetables. Can you imagine spending the day bent over picking stuff? Families like Cesar's lived in shacks, tents, cars, or on the ground. So here's an example of a shack. So you can see it's like put together with cardboard boxes. And so there's going to be no air conditioning, no running water, no bathroom, no heat. And I'm wondering if that bucket is what they had to use to go to the bathroom. There were no laws keeping workers safe, so farmers could treat them badly. I'm wondering if you're going to come up with a way to fix this, Cesar. Time for change. Cesar's childhood showed him much change was needed. As a young man, he read books about peacemakers like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and St. Francis. From these peaceful men, he learned that change was possible. In 1962, Cesar started a union to fight for better pay and conditions for migrant workers. That word condition means that they could take a break and go to the bathroom and have clean water. So he wanted them to not only be paid better, but to have good working conditions. To get workers to understand how a union would help them, he became a migrant worker again. So he had gotten out of migrant working, and he went in it again just to show them what he meant. That way they could talk while they worked. Man, Cesar, you are a very hardworking man. What did his union do? Caesar's union only used peaceful methods to speak out. They planned marches and protests, holding up signs about the change they wanted. So a protest is when people walk around holding signs about what they think should be happening. Cesar taught them to stand their ground and never turn to violence or yelling. He was jailed many times for his work. that sounds really similar to Martin Luther King Jr. He went to jail a few times too. And you wanted to end this all without violence? That's amazing, Cesar. So you're like another Martin Luther King, but you wanted the change for migrant workers. Caesar's union planned strikes and boycotts, which cost growers money. So a boycott is when you refuse to do something or buy something. In a strike, workers refused to work until changes were made. During boycotts, many people joined the cause by refusing to buy certain foods until workers were treated better. So they would refuse to buy food from those farmers so that it would affect them, because if people weren't buying their stuff, they weren't going to make any money. And if the workers went on strike, who's going to do everything? That was a great plan to speak out about what you wanted without violence. I'm so proud of you, Caesar. Given all he had, Caesar went on hunger strikes several times. He lived by the words, si se puedo. This is Spanish for yes, it can be done. When he died in 1993, over 40,000 people marched to show their respect for this peaceful leader. Wow, you had 40,000 people that came because of your awesomeness? That's really cool. This guy is awesome. Caesar's work led directly to laws helping migrant workers. So a migrant worker, again, is somebody who's going from town to town finding any job they can on farms. He also changed lives in factories, stores, and other jobs. He showed workers everywhere how to make their voices be heard. The world is a better place because of you, Cesar Chavez. So here is our glossary. And again, hunger strikes is like when you refuse to eat to show you disagree with something. So he went on hunger strikes and he worked for better conditions for people. So he's a pretty awesome guy. So what is my man Cesar Chavez known for? He is a Mexican American who worked to improve condition for farm workers, for migrant workers. So he wanted to improve the conditions to give them breaks and make them not work such long hours and have a place to go to the bathroom and drinking water. So he helped make the conditions better for farm workers. I hope you enjoyed listening to Cesar Chavez with Mr. Cesar Chavez himself. You can also watch the Brain Pop video to learn more about him and find out how many times he moved schools during his life. I hope you enjoyed.